Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you're listening and not watching the video, head to our website for a list of resources discussed in this podcast, local restaurants, and even social commentary. useventphotos.com podcast. Thanks so much. Enjoy the show. How you doing? I'm Mike Gaddy and welcome to the 743 Patterson Park podcast. This week I have a very special episode because this week I sit down with internet sensation, Instagram sensation at Baltimore food scene, Samantha. She just crossed the 40,000 follower mark this past week, and we sit down and we talk about the Baltimore food scene in an in-depth interview that is like none you've heard before. If you love food, if you're struggling to find new places to go, new things to try, this is the interview you want to listen to. We explore the best crab cakes, the best pizza, the best Italian, the best Chinese, the best bakeries, the best food trucks, best. I was so inspired after I talked to her that I went down and said to my husband, we have to order a pizza and I know just where to order it from. We ordered the pizza. I ate the entire thing. Which means possibly in the upcoming weeks we'll have to explore the best gyms because I'm going to need to start my workout routine again and again and again after all of the food that I plan on eating at all of these different local spots. But for now, join me as we talk Baltimore restaurants and places to go with at Baltimore food scene, Samantha. Take a listen. So I am here with Samantha, who you all may know better, and you probably do know her based on the number of people who follow her on Instagram as Baltimore food scene. And she is one of the leading foodies, food bloggers, Instagram foodies, whatever you want to call them, in Baltimore. And I'm really excited to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that was like the most professional introduction I've done so
fancy.
Yeah. Anyway, so Samantha, how long have you been doing your food Instagram posts?
To me, this is not long, but it's only been about 3 years.
Really? So and how many followers do you have? Because
I know.
I'm telling you, I look at your posts and you can post a picture of a cheeseburger, literally. Better yet, what was it?
Are you looking at it?
Fried chicken sandwich, yeah. And it had 1,707 likes.
What is that? I know. People love fried chicken sandwiches these days. Like fried chicken wars are a thing. But yeah, I have, so I just hit a really big milestone this weekend. I have 40,000 followers. Which is amazing. And I am so appreciative for everyone that's following along on my food journey. So
I think it's super cool. And a lot of those guys are in Baltimore, but I'm sure they're worldwide, aren't they?
Yeah, a good portion is Baltimore, but like I have some insight so I can see, but surprisingly a lot Baltimore, like the DMV region, a little bit up through New York, but yeah, it's awesome. Like honestly, sometimes I can't believe the response. So I'm very appreciative.
I can tell you when I started following you and when I started following your posts, one of the things that surprised me the most was that you're not like haute couture food. It's down to earth, middle of the road, accessible food that anyone can eat at any given time. And it's not, hoity toity. And when I think of food bloggers and social influencers, I kind of go to the hoity-toity mode, and
yeah, I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, and so how did you decide to get into this? Because it's just fascinating.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's just like it's where I really eat. So I'll get back to it in a second, but like it's where I eat. So what happened was I was in college. At the time that we did not have like these cell phones. And I was that girl in college that like carried around like a legit camera. No one had cameras. I was doing selfies in the bar. It was like 2002 or whatever. So I was like the girl with the camera documenting. And then I just got to this point where like I was living in a city. I was enjoying going out all the time. I would take pictures of whatever I was doing. And I guess, I don't know, I was at a life stage point where like a lot of my friends were having kids. I wasn't really at that point yet. So I didn't really have like anything to put my energy into. And someone was like, why don't you just like post the food? Because all you do is take pictures of it. And I was like, I could never do that. No one would ever follow me. And then I was like, you know what? I just need to not care. So once I just like stopped caring about what anyone else thought, because it's like, it's a lot of that, right? You're putting yourself out there to be judged. I was like, I'm just going to do this. So my page, it's me, it's not like I have to go where everyone else is going. It is literally like places that I've gone since I was a kid. It's where I really go to eat. And yeah, I'm eating a little bit more than I probably ever would be normally. Cause I'm trying to go out a little bit more than I probably should, but it's really where I eat. And word of mouth, like places where people tell me to go, I try.
Yeah,
And
I
I eat
noticed that.
all of it.
And you actively ask your
Oh
followers
yeah.
to give you recommendations and feedback, and they seem to like super love that. I think you were just recently, which was it?
You really studied. I love it.
Oh,
Yes.
I
So the
call it
other day,
stalking.
yeah, the other day I was on a hike up in Patapsco, and I was like, every time I'm in Patapsco, I never know where to eat. I'm just gonna ask. I got so much response that I had to go. I went to this place, Scatino's Italian Market. They don't even have an Instagram page. I cannot tell you. I probably got 100 messages within 2 days of like, that's one of my favorite places. I can't believe you went there. Someone messaged me the other day that said they've never seen the place so busy. And I was like, oh my God, it really works. Like people really went there. So it's really cool.
That to me, that is the best thing about social media. And it's one reason why this podcast was started, was because of COVID hitting, wanting to bring people together in a way that, we're used to being and can't right now because of the pandemic. And whether it's artists or chefs or, social influencers, people in the community who have something to say and are kind of limited at the moment. Have you had trouble getting out and going about because of COVID, and the restrictions? Has that
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard. I think that the foodie community did a nice job in the beginning of like, we're small, like it's a small foodie world community here. We all know each other. And I think we all did a nice job of like, right when the pandemic hit, we shifted and we were like, here's a list of where to go for takeout. And here are the places that are offering takeout and like this, you know what I mean? Like we shifted real fast. And some of the influencers put up like lists of where to go. I mean, it was pretty crazy in the beginning, but as things have changed, I'm trying to do everything I can to highlight restaurants, and help them get out there, like whatever is going on for them, because everything's different. So maybe they have outdoor dining in their parking lot, or they're only takeout only. Like I'm just trying to support the places that I love and love to eat.
Okay, so I thought ordering through a food app like Uber Eats or DoorDash or one of them was a great way of supporting the local restaurant community. Is it, or are there some problems with it?
I guess it's hard. Like, there's a lot of fees. So I think you just have to like be careful. When in doubt, I try to do takeout direct from the restaurant. And I also live in a city, so I'm a little luckier. I'll just walk and then do takeout right from there. But yeah, I mean, it gets a little tricky because there's a lot of hidden fees and the fees don't go to the restaurant. And then there's some instances where a restaurant might purposely not do Grubhub because it might make them extra busy and then they just can't get to everything and it just makes a cluster. And sometimes the Grubhub might just put a restaurant up there that's not even supposed to be up there. I don't know. It's a lot of details, but just got to watch it. I think rule of thumb, when in doubt, if you can, order direct from the restaurant so that they get all the proceeds, but or direct from their website. That's another thing. There's a lot of restaurants that are leveraging some of these apps, but when it comes from their website directly, that there is a fee structure worked out in a way that supports that restaurant. So that's my rule of thumb. But I get that not everyone can do that. Sometimes you might have to just.
Well, but it's better for the restaurants, especially right now, to be ordering direct if you possibly can.
If you can, but business is business. They want your business, but yeah, when you can. But not everyone has the luxury of being able to just run down and pick it up, or so I get it.
Without getting divulging your privacy, generally, because of those stalkers, including me. Where in Baltimore City do you live? Do you live downtown, Fells Point? What?
Sure. So I live in Harbor East, but really like walking distance to anything in Harbor East, Little Italy, and Fells Point. So I feel very fortunate for where I can, and I have my same local spots that I always go to, but I'm trying so hard to not stick to my same spots, because I know people are all over.
But yeah. I want to know what your go-to spots are. So tell us what your go-to I saw one of these, Amici's of Little Italy, where I have very fond food memories from way back from Amici. They've been around forever, but that it was one of your go-to takeout spots. By the way, that Instagram post was 994 likes.
Chicken parm.
Yeah, it was like a picture of a meatball.
People love that, but it's legit. Actually, Amici's has an insane deal. They have every night they have a different deal. So I love a good deal too. The Pane Rotunda at Amici's is just unlike no other. And people think you can't get that for takeout, but you can because they package it so well. But yes, so go-to spots. So I think it's different for me. I've got my go-to takeout, my go-to dine-in, my go-to fancy date night stuff. So I'll give you a rundown.
Yeah, break it down for us.
Okay. So takeout, nailed it with Amici's. That's definitely one of my takeout spots. Another one that I just go crazy over is Thai Street. It's no flares, no frills. It's just authentic Thai. And I just love their drunken noodles and their khao soi. And the guys that work there are so amazing. So into Thai Street, one of my go-to dine-in restaurants is my followers will laugh at me because they know this is one of my faves, but it's La Scala, which you have never been to, and hopefully you're going to change that. I cannot believe you're Baltimore native and have never been there. That's insane.
Well,
I can assure you that you'll have great food memories at La Scala. So the reason I love it there, obviously the food's amazing. The lobster Regina means queen. So it's my queen pasta is amazing. Oh,
that's perfect. Regina pasta.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to love this lobster Regina. I'm going to send you there specifically for this lobster Regina. That's why I one of my favorite things there, but it's just, they treat you like family. And I watched Chef Nino there and he's walking around, mask on, to every table, just greeting. There's just so much just love in the air. So I love the feeling that I get when I'm there. So that's part of why I absolutely love it. It's food, but it's how you feel. So I think to me that they go hand in hand. So absolutely love it there. And then, there's the staples from when I was younger. I'll throw one out at you. Have you ever been to Tio Pepe's?
Yes, I
have. For me, that's my family birthday spot. And it's been really hard during COVID because we haven't been able to celebrate anything. So that's one spot that I've really missed this year, just because that's where we go to celebrate and we haven't been able to do any in-person dining. So that one makes me a little sad, but I just love it. That sangria is just
all right, favorite.
Oh, that's such a debate right now for me internally. I'm struggling with this one. Oh my God. I'm sure you've had one of them, but it's possible you haven't had the other. So an all-time OG pizza for Baltimore is obviously Matthew's. Right in your hood.
Matthew's. 932 likes.
So Matthew's, I just love. I love the thickness, the cheese to the edge. I even love their salad. I love their meatballs. Matthew's is awesome. But a new fave for me is a newcomer to the scene, Underground Pizza Co. That I'm guessing you might not have had yet because they're just so new. But he's awesome. He's a COVID story. He was in an industry like of the music industry that kind of just completely shut down in March, started making pizzas out of his house. And now he has a spot in Power Plant, and they're just cranking out pizzas, and it's just Detroit style pizza, so it's a little thicker. But anyways, they're like a close second for me lately, and they're just, to me, they're just different. So maybe like they're in different categories.
And this is for me because I have been beating on trying to find go to carry out Chinese.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one.
Specifically sweet and sour chicken.
I love Ni Hao, which is near you. I can't comment on their sweet and sour though. I've only had their chicken. I think it's Kung Pao, maybe, which is phenomenal if you haven't had it yet. So I love Ni Hao. I don't think that I need to do more research on my Chinese food game.
Do you think of Baltimore as an up and coming foodie city?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think we get undershot. Like, I just think we don't always get talked about, but we've got big timers here. And I think because, we are not as probably big and as expensive as DC and Philly, and like people can actually land here and open up restaurants. So I think it's only going to get better. But yeah, there's some big timers, right? All these restaurant groups. And I mean, I live close to, like, out my window, I literally can see the Charleston. So like we've got Cindy Wolf and we've got all her restaurants, and there's just some big.
Chef Andy mentioned the Charleston when I interviewed him last week. And I haven't been there either, I confess.
It's fancy.
Yeah. Well, look, fancy good.
Yeah, I love a good fancy night. I mean, it's not an everyday weekend spot, but like they have this lobster soup there that like it's worth going just for this soup and their fried oysters, which is something that you wouldn't think. But anyways, yeah, I think we're only going to get stronger. It's a small community, but it's like small, and like think about where we were 20 years ago, totally different. There was like barely anything to eat in the city. There was like 2 restaurants in Harbor East, and you didn't come to the city to eat 20 years ago. At least I don't think so. No, but now you do. Yeah, now you do. Oh my God, so much coming in Hamden and Mount Vernon Marketplace and everything that they're doing over, where Crust by Mac is. There's just so much coming. And I know that you're going to air this at a later date, but I was actually watching the Today Show this morning, and they did a whole special on Baltimore. I was like, I thought I was listening to the local news. So that's why I didn't click. And then I looked up and I was like, oh my God, this is Today Show. They were interviewing the guy from Jimmy's Seafood about all that he's doing for the Baltimore restaurant relief, and how like this small city, again, a small city, it's small, that they've all been able to take care of each other. So the guy from Jimmy's Seafood raised all this money and gave it to a bunch of local businesses, Urban Oyster being one of them. That's who I saw on the Today Show. It was just,
Okay, well, I would be remiss if we didn't ask best crab/crab cakes.
Okay, it's a hard one. I'm actually like on my page right now. So I built a guide for best crab cakes in Baltimore. You're probably so hard. I've been really feeling in the city, Pappy's Cuisine. Have you been there yet?
No, I have not. Okay, remember, I moved here right before COVID.
Right. So right.
So as soon as I moved here, everything shut down.
I know. That is so hard. That is so hard. That is so hard. So there's a new thing that hopefully your listeners or viewers have seen, but it's this crab cake egg roll thing. Have you heard about this yet?
Yeah, but go ahead.
And anyways, I just feel like Pappy's did such a great job with that. And then because of that, I tried their crab cake. I was blown away. I thought it was so good. And that was a new entry to Baltimore. But I actually love Fadley's in Lexington Market. That is just, it's a big one. Coco's is a big one. And Papa's is another big one on the top of my list. I know this is an ever-changing debate, but I'm glad we have so many to choose from. Just more crab cakes for all of us to eat. And, I would just try them all. So some food trucks have popped up as a result. So there is this one guy, awesome chef, and his restaurant just wasn't working. So him and his brother started this smash burger food truck called Fuzzy's, within, and they parked outside Mr. Nice Guys. So there was like a whole collaboration between these two places that both started during COVID, which I thought was amazing. And like this smash burger and the fried chicken sandwich are amazing. And obviously I have posted it. But again, like that was a great result of like, just, it's a situation, and he wanted, it gave him like this opportunity to start his own thing where maybe he wouldn't have, I don't know, but he's a great one to have on the show. But that's one.
I'm glad you mentioned food trucks, because food trucks have become a thing, not just here, but in other cities.
Yeah.
When you're gallivanting around Baltimore, and when you see certain food trucks, what are the ones you stop at and say, okay, I have to get something from?
That's a good question. Honestly, I started food trucks with Gypsies. That was my very first food truck before they even had a restaurant. And I just remember pre-COVID, anytime I saw Gypsies, it's like that queen. You know what I'm talking? It's like a blue greenish color. I would see it purple. Yeah, what is it with me and queen today? And it's this like waffle cone that they stuff with with French fries, and they top it with a crab cake, and then like they smother it in sauce. It's like dripping down your hands, and it's just so much fun to eat. And that's like my first food truck food that I like was obsessed with. Now you can get it anytime because they have a restaurant, but I think it's still more fun to get it from the truck. I mean, Duck Duck is another great one. I don't know if you've been there yet. Just like, it's been hard. They have a small little place, and, patio's gorgeous, and we couldn't do patio dining for a while, so that hurt. But their patio vibe is awesome. And I just absolutely love their foie gras burger. Love burgers.
That's the first hoity-toity food I've heard you say. Although
that is the first. That is the first. I know. I know you're totally right. I'm not basic at all. I'm more just like, I'll eat anything. I'll eat a fried chicken sandwich. I'll eat the foie gras burger. I'll eat the fanciest food that you have. I was talking to somebody at Tame Street Oyster. I love Tame Street Oyster House in Fells Point. And the chef there is amazing. And they make some awesome dishes, seafood and non-seafood. And I think the chef long time ago, like threw on lobster mac and cheese just to like, please the masses, but it's not a proud of moment. And like, it's my obsession. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, chef's probably like, why did I do that? It's become a thing. But it's like, you kind of have to have a balance. Like I like both, and I'll highlight both on my feed. You'll see like a decadent scallop dish and some perfectly cooked steak. And then you'll see, fried chicken or like a grilled cheese.
Which is when COVID finally ends, your go-to bakery, your go-to bakery for Baltimore.
Oh, this is so hard because I have three that I like love. All right. I will start with Crust by Mac. I don't know if you've been there yet, but that is one where if you go back to your question earlier about a place that's taken off during COVID, it's definitely Crust by Mac. I mean, I think that was the power of social media. I mean, her stuff is amazing, but I mean, the foodie community just rallied around her. And there's just been so much press. She's amazing. Everything from scratch, everything from her family. It's amazing. The second one that I really love, and you talked about this with Chef Andrew, was Cafe de Leon. Mouth drop moment. I try to get there and try as much as I can, but half the time I get there, they're like sold out because they're so amazing. The egg sandwich is amazing, but like every single like pastry I try, the next one's just as good. So I love it there. Third one is a newfound fave for me is Oven Bird in Little Italy. Line out the door every single weekend. It's amazing. I had this focaccia from there the other day, and I've never eaten as big of a piece of a focaccia as I did when I ate this huge. I can't believe I ate it all. Like I was so mad at myself for eating this focaccia. Dipped in olive oil with the rosemary, but you have to go to Oven Bird. I mean, he's got everything there, and they make the bagels from scratch, and they put like the salmon and the capers and the cream cheese. I love food. If you haven't been able to tell.
So I think you can see why Samantha has 40,000 followers on Instagram. Her infection and her love and her enthusiasm for all things Baltimore food scene just makes you want to go out and have a pizza. Like I said, I'm going to have to renew my gym membership just as soon as COVID is over because there's crunches in my future. Anyway, next week we'll have another great guest. I am so excited because this is a gentleman I've wanted to talk to for a while. I just wasn't sure quite where to put him in. He started his business when COVID hit. He changed how he was going to open based on the pandemic. So please join me next week as I talk to another nice guy, Mr. Nice Guy, Anthony of Mr. Nice Guy Cocktails. Meanwhile, have a great couple weeks, and we'll see you in just a little bit.